everyone, welcome back to Holtzfeller Woodworking. My name is Alan. I need some boxes. Allow me to explain. My son and I both play baseball here in Germany for the Tübingen Hawks. And our organization has a couple teams in the Bundesliga. The girls softball plays in the Erste Bundesliga, which is the top national league in Germany. And our men's team plays in the Zweite Bundesliga, the second league. Now, we charge a small admission fee for our games, but in order to do that, we need somebody working up front and collecting the money, and we don't want to do that. Instead, this season, we're going to rely on the good old honor system. So we need a couple of cash boxes around the field where people can put their money in. So the requirements for that are they need to be good looking, obviously, strong, durable, which is the same thing as strong. They need to be able to be mounted and removed after each game, very simply, so that means French cleat. And I'd like to have a window in the front so that people can see other people have already paid and they're more likely to want to help us out. And lastly, we need to have a removable bottom that isn't obvious so that we can get the money out at the end of the day. All right, let's get to it. I picked up a piece of 15 mil birch ply out of the short ends bin at the big box to use for the base. Looks like there's enough here to make 2 boxes. I have a little bit of beech left over to use for the tops. I have to decide if they're going to go this way or that way. I think this looks better. I also have a couple of scrap pieces of Lexan to use for the windows, and then some scrap 1/4 inch for the bottom. I often use my workbench for a quick sketch out for dimensions. Then I cut the fronts, backs, and all 4 sides to their proper size. Unsurprisingly, I'm going to set the back in 15 mils to allow for a French cleat, which means I'll need to cut a dado. Allow room for the cleat and set the blade for about half the thickness of the material and cut all 4 pieces. I have a foolproof dado method, but I completely messed it up on this one. So I simply line up the outside cut by eye. Make the second cut on all the pieces. The 2 outside cuts need to be accurate for the final width of the dado, but the rest of the cuts are just to clean out the middle. The front piece will need a rabbet. Same as the dado, but since it goes all the way to the edge, you'll need a sacrificial fence for the last cut. I forgot to film that. And perfect fit. Next up, we need to cut a slot to accept the removable bottom. It's the exact same process as the previous dado. Inside, outside, and double check. And I made a mistake and cut it too wide. Now I can save this by cutting it a little wider and expanding to a much stronger 15 mil plywood for the bottom, and be more careful next time. With the larger dado cut, I trim the backs to allow the bottom to slide in and out unimpeded. Okay, we've got all the pieces cut and assembled in a dry fit. Before I glue it together though, I need to cut a hole in the front panels to include a window. Now that's easier said than done. I want to get a nice straight rectangle. I could use the jigsaw, the scroll saw, but I don't know how perfect that's going to be. So I think I'm going to use the router. Then I mark for the window, allowing for some overlap so it can be inset. Then I whipped up this handy jig so I can make multiple passes with a straight bit. We're cutting a lot of material here, so it's a bad idea to do it all at once. Make multiple passes, cutting slightly deeper each time. After a few passes, we have a window. Simply swap out for the second piece and repeat the process. We're going to set the window in, but I want to sandwich the Lexan between 2 pieces of plywood for added strength. I'm going to use 1/4 inch plywood. To cut the window the exact same size, we attach with double-sided tape, drill some quick holes for the jigsaw, and then roughly cut out the window. Once it's cut out, we clean up the edge using a flush cut bit on the router, and then a slight round over on the face side. We finish up by removing the 1/4 inch and cutting a recess with a straight bit to accept the Lexan. And we have a perfect fit. Before we glue it up, we need a slot for all that money. This involves multiple passes with a straight bit and a quick polish with a file and the Dremel. It will be nearly impossible to paint the inside once it's assembled, so we'll do that before the glue up. And we'll also do the face piece before we glue in the glass to avoid splashing paint on the Lexan. A little bead of glue on the inside and then glue and clamp the two pieces together. Once those are dry, we assemble the whole box using glue and clamps. While that dries, we size a couple pieces for the bottom and then mark and cut them for length. I want them to be perfectly flush with the back of the piece. Now is a good time to install the French cleat. Glue and clamps will be strong enough. We're going to need a way to attach the top. Probably the easiest method is to make a false inside top using pocket holes and then attaching the actual top to that with screws from the inside. The bottoms fit nicely and will be held in place when mounted on the wall, but I'm going to add a latch to avoid any accidental opening. Line it up in the center, adjust for the depth of the latch, and screw into place. Mark and drill a hole about 3/4 of the way through the bottom to accept the pin. And there you go, the Tübingen Hawks cash box. Thanks for watching Holtzfeller Woodworking, everybody. Stay tuned for more and see you at the field.